Hi there. I am just here to talk to you about what I've been up to the last month for May. And I am in Don Michelle's Weavers group, and I will link that below. And this month we have been doing fairy tales. And we started off with Once Upon a Time. So I chose to use the Fairytale Tarot by Baba Studios. And it has a lot of information in all the cards. And it has a fairy tale for each of the cards. So it's kind of a lot of work to use. But it was fun to use it, and I enjoyed it. And I paired it with the Fairytale Oracle cards. These are by Umbrella Tree Press. And this was a Kickstarter that I got. But I thought the messages would go. I mean, I don't know if it looks good with it, but it was kind of fun. Guess I got these backwards. It was fun to use it this way. And these all have a story too. So they ended up having stories together, which was kind of interesting. And then we could bring in stories that went with our tarot readings that month. And I chose to just bring in the stories that I was working with for my readings. And people could bring in whatever story they wanted, but it's a fun practice, and I really enjoyed it. So that was week 1 in the Weavers group. And next, I used some Alice decks because we did an Alice-themed week, Curious and Curiouser. And so I used 2 decks for that. The Alice in Tarotland, and this one's by Lorene Music of Divine Apothecary. I've had this deck for a long time, and I really enjoy it. And then I also used an Oracle deck that was Alice themed. That is the White Rabbit Oracle. And these were fun to use together too. And every reading I paired these together, but these were really fun. I really enjoy this deck. And I thought it went really nicely with the White Rabbit Oracle. I've been trying to post everything in the Facebook group because we have a Facebook group too for the Weavers. But my computer broke, and it's amazing, but it takes 2 weeks to get a new computer. So right now, I don't have a way to do certain things. Can't edit my videos. I'm filming on my phone, which is okay, but it is sometimes a little bit of a challenge. This is a fun combo, though. And this deck, I love the black and white themed, and I really enjoy the art. Both these decks, I really like the art. So this was very fun to use together. And that is Alice in Tarotland for the tarot deck, and the White Rabbit Oracle for the Oracle deck. And the third week in Monthly Medicine, we did a Shadow Week. So I used the Somnia Tarot. And I know not everybody likes this deck, but I have fallen in love with this. And I think it is really good. Let me see if I can, okay. Here's the companion book. We were studying the Lovers this month because it's Gemini season, and the Lovers corresponds with that. So I'm just going to read you the guidebook for the lovers. It says, standing before the ladder to heaven, the lovers convey the complexity of a perpetual bond between two humans who are ephemeral in their corporeal bodies. It is only until the lovers see beyond their death in the physical world that their union remains unbroken, rather fortified by forces of beyond. Even when surrounded by earthly disruptions of temptation, lust, and confusion, the lovers will triumph over adversity through communication, cooperation, and forgiveness. The lovers, bound at the wrist, are faced with the path to the spirit world. They are confronted by the reality that they must eventually sever the ties between their bodies, only to meet again in the afterlife. The traditional symbolism of the lovers is expressed through a fourfold motif: an apple that echoes the forbidden fruit, a coiled rope that suggests a serpent, verdant trees that allude to the Garden of Eden, and an ascending ladder coupled with a mysterious plume of smoke that invokes the divine. The scissors may also imply temptation or a severed relationship, suggesting a way forward for individuals, both in marriage and friendship. The two characters dressed in formal attire will transform in the Devil's card, where they appear disheveled, and laden with the miseries of the world. So I thought, this is just such an interesting deck. I also showed it when we were doing our deck and walk. But at first it freaked me out, and now I love it. And I think it has really deep meanings, and it gives me a different perspective. And I just think it is incredibly beautiful. And so this was the deck I used for our Shadow Week. And I think there might have been one other person in our group that used this. A lot of people used Red Riding Hood type theme decks, because that was kind of the theme, going into the dark woods. And I know this deck isn't for everybody, but boy, I think it's amazing. And I really like the photography in it. I like photography decks, and this one is stunning, I think. So that is the Somnia Tarot. And next, for week 4, I used my Tiger Tarot, which is a collage deck that was from a New York artist, and she did a big display. I'm actually going back to New York next month. And this is a really cool deck. And it gave me really great readings, very powerful readings. And I paired this with some oracle cards that I'd had for a really long time. So I usually just mix these, but I separated them. Love Your True Colors and Venus Rising by Udi Arma. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. So these were fun to pair. I ended up getting that card at the beginning of the week. So Overwhelmed with Page of Cups, Four of Swords with Passion, Two of Wands with Celebrate, Justice with the Art of Receiving, King of Wands and Cultivate Love, Seven of Cups and Innocence, Three of Cups and Dream, Soothsayer of Cups and Surrender, Two of Cups and Magic, Three of Eyes and Vision, Five of Eyes and Let Yourself Shine, Six of Cups and New Roots, Love Your True Colors and Four of Cups, Obsession and Nine of Wands, Speak Your Truth and Judgment, Forgiveness and the Hanged Woman. We Are One and the Queen of Cups. King of Swords and Slow Down. Soothsayer of Eyes and Find Your Wildness. 13, Death and Find Your Light. 6 of Eyes and Sacred No. 7 of Swords and Appreciation. Knight of Swords and Resurrection. The World and Abundance. Prince of Cups and Courage. And Knight of Cups and Transformation. And I'll show you a little bit of the other one. Which is Venus Rising. Find Your Voice and Strength. See the Bigger Picture and the Hermit. Art of Boundaries and Soothsayer of Wands. Take a Risk, Open New Doors and 3 of Swords. 4 of Eyes and You Are One of a Kind, Celebrate It. Ace of Eyes, Letting Go of Shame. Prince of Swords, Break the Rules. 7 of Eyes, Attend to Your Shadow. 10 of Eyes, Look Beyond the Obvious. 8 of Eyes, Remember You Are Visionary. The Fool and Open for Love. The Emperor, Commune with Nature. Knight of Eyes, Honor the Masculine. High Priestess, Know Your Inner Landscape. So these were fun to use, and I just thought they worked well together. And I keep them in the Oracle decks in this Peggy bag that has, it's split, and I'll link that shop down below so you can keep things separate if you want. And this is a fun deck because you get extra court cards, and it's the only time I've had a deck where I had extra court cards. I also used this for my belting spread, and for my belting spread I used it with the Oracle of the Rose, and I will at least link all the decks down below so you get to see what they are, even if I can't find. Some of them are probably out of print, but I'll at least list what they're called. So these are good together. I started edging them, but I haven't finished. And I saw this on Don Michelle's channel, and I thought it was fun. So Faith, 7 of Wands, and Intuition. Soulmates, the Magician, and Priestess. Storm, the Magician, and Set Sail. This was a great belting spread. Beginnings, Queen of Eyes, and Soleil. Tower, Queen of Swords, and TikTok. Self-Love, Prince of Eyes, and Cupid. I just think these go so nicely together. And I like the darkness of this, and this deck is lighter, but it's so different. And it's got a lot going on. And sometimes that might be too much, but I've really been enjoying this deck. I thought it was really fun to use. And you can always pick your own decks. You don't have to get the decks that I'm showing, but I'm just showing you this as possibilities of combining things and what I used for certain spreads, but certainly you can use your own cards for combining and things. And you certainly don't have to buy anything new. I have bought all these myself. Innocence, 9 of Cups, and Release. Carousel, 10 of Cups, and Remember. Celebration, the Lovers, and Balancing Act. The Lovers has been coming up a lot for me this month, and it's kind of funny because it is the main major arcana in the Gemini deck and walk. So I've been studying it a lot, and I've been getting the card a lot. So that is the Oracle of the Rose. And I think she is out of Australia, I think, or New Zealand. I can't remember which. But a ways away from the United States. But the deck came pretty fast. I mean, we've had it for probably over a month now. It was one of the few things I bought this year. And then this is the Tiger Tarot, which I think I might have ordered this in December. I saw the art display and then ordered it. So this has been a fun deck I've really been enjoying. And that is week 3 in the Weavers group. Whoops. Okay, I'm having trouble getting this in. Okay. And then for the 4th week. Oh, also, I was going to show you the week I used the Shadow and the Somnia Tarot. I also used and Stokes Gothic Tarot, which is really cool. I had pre-ordered this from last year, and I really like this deck. And I love Anne Stokes' artwork. And this is the mass market deck. And these cards are, I don't know if you can tell, a little bit glossy. But I think the art is beautiful. And I have enjoyed using this. And I used it mostly separately from the Somnia, but a couple times I did use it with the Somnia. And I love the unicorns. I love Anne Stokes unicorns. The powerful Medusa, North Star, Fire Dragon, Eternal Bond, Wheel of the Year, Dragon Trainer, Flower of 3, Moonstone, and Awaken Your Magic. So fun deck for shadow work. It would be good for Samhain or Halloween time too. Okay, and then am I on week? I think I must be on the last week. So for the last week, I used, which is this week, in the Weaver group. We were kind of closing up our Fairytale week, and I used the Tarot of Prague, which is such a beautiful deck. I don't know if you can tell, but it has the shimmery, and this is the large version. So I spent a lot of time in Prague, and so I've been to a lot of these places that are in this deck. So this deck has a lot of meaning for me, and I really think it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite Baba Studios decks. I think partly because it just reminds me of being in Prague, and I just love being there. I've been there quite a few times. And the first few times I went, I stayed mostly in the city. And then the last few times I've gone, I've kind of explored the outskirts. And I have a lot of fun in the outskirts of Prague. Chetskia now. And this is just a great deck to use. I just used this deck by itself. I didn't use anything with it. And I would love to have the smaller version too, but I am happy that I have this version. It was kind of funny because I was looking at this deck and I thought, well, I'm going to get the small version, and then I got something else from them too, and I thought, well, I'll get the Tarot of Prague last, and we'll get the other one first. And at the time, I thought I had plenty of time, and then I went to buy the Tarot of Prague, and there was only a few copies of this left, and the smaller version was sold out. And so I was lucky and got this, but I didn't get the smaller version. And then right after that, I saw on sale people selling it secondhand for probably twice what Bob Studios charged. And I thought, no way am I paying that. And then I thought, oh, it'll come down. Nope, never. The prices never came down. It's only gone up. And so I have never been able to get a copy of the small deck, because I think the cheapest I've ever seen it go for was $200. And then I thought, oh, that's too much. And now I've seen it go for more than that. But it is a really sweet deck, really well done. And I do enjoy it. So I just figured I'm going to use that for the monthly medicine. And it reminds me of being there. So it's been especially fun to use this month. And then I used the Spirit Keepers Tarot for my Simple Sundays that I do on the Boho Tarot group. I don't know if I've posted these lately because I don't have my computer, and sometimes it's just harder to post. I could probably do it on my phone. But I love this deck. It's really pretty. And it's really deep, and it has tons of meaning. I've been studying it. I'm trying to study every day since the beginning of the year. I feel like you can just keep learning on this deck. But it's also easy to just read. There's a little guidebook. I have a big book of maps, but there's also a little guidebook, and you could just use it and get to know it better as you go along. I think a lot of people feel like they don't want to use it for just simple readings, but it works really well for that, actually. I think this is still on pre-order, so if you like this, I think you can still get it on pre-order right now. Probably not for much longer. And then usually Benabel will have some extra copies of the deck that she'll put for sale, but they sell fast. So this is a unique opportunity to get this deck, because these do sell out really fast if you do want this. But amazing deck, really enjoying using it. And I'm using it partially as a study deck, but I'm also just using it for readings, and it reads great. And I also have been using Tarot of Jane Austen, which is a great deck. I talked about this in my VR to Lisa and Peggy, and this was a deck that I was talking about the structure. I think I didn't talk about the structure of this deck in that video. I think I talked about it in one of my Deck and Walk videos, but this deck has a really cool structure because all the scenes relate to one of the Jane Austen stories, and in addition, it's really tied into the astrological aspects of the cards, so it's great to use for a Deck and Walk. This deck is out of print now, but I've been playing around with this and using it more and more. I went through and I rewatched all the Jane Austen movies and read the books again. And so I'm more familiar with the stories right now. So it really helps when you're using this deck. And I don't know, I don't see this around much, but it's great. And I just paired this alone by itself. And I put it back in order a while ago, and then I started using it again. And just studying it a little more too. But this was more just a deck I'm using for learning experiences. And really, really enjoying becoming one of my favorite decks. Or one of my top used decks right now. And it's great to go through this with the deck and walk. And it's great to use. When I got to where the Fairytale Tarot was too much, because I'm trying to bond with this deck too, and I couldn't read all the stories, I went back to the Jane Austen and started using that again. And then I've also used the Forhaxa Tarot with my Froud Fairy oracles. And I was just working with some fairy energy, and we did a lot of fairy work in April in monthly medicine, and I just kind of kept using my decks. So I'm just going to show you all of them together. And this is the Heart of Fairy, and this is the Fairy Oracle, and this is the Forhaxa. And I think the Forhaxa is mass market now, but it's by MJ Cullinae, and I think you can get it mass market now. And then this is a mass market oracle, Brian Froud, Fairies Oracle, and this one, Heart of Fairy, I think is out of print. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. So these were all worked pretty well together, I thought. Sorcerer Death, Singer of Courage, Friends, Magician, and Paradox, The Rocks, The Moon, MJ Holbrook, Temptation, Temperance, and Faith in the Sylph, Temptation, Fairy of Growth, Elder of Earth, Lady of the Harvest. And, you know, with these, I do use the guidebooks. Actually, with all of them, I often check the guidebooks because they'll have a title on them, but it doesn't, you need the guidebook for them. The Singer of Initiation, Prince of Light, and you can read them intuitively, but there's a lot of layers in the guidebooks, so it really helps to use those. Blessing, Six of Earth, the Fawn, and if I just were going to pick two, I think I like the Heart of Fairy and the Forhaxa the most together, but sometimes I would add in the Fairy Oracle, Fairies Oracle. These two work especially well together, I thought. And summer just seems like such a great time to work with fairy energy. The guidebook for this is better, I think. They're both good guidebooks. The Fairies Oracle is really good, though. Heart of Fairy Oracle is a smaller guidebook. I don't know if you can tell. And it doesn't go as deep, but it's sometimes a little gentler energy to work with. Green woman with 8 of earth. Perfect. So anyway, those are fun. And I'll show you with just Heart of Fairy and the Forhaxa loops. Because these were my favorite, these two together. But I definitely used all 3 together too. And I'll probably keep working with these through June, I think. Maybe all through summer, because they're pretty fun to work with. All right, and that was May, except for my moon readings. And so I will show you what I used for those. Oh, and then also, I thought these bags were so perfect for these oracles because I took the cards out of the box because the boxes are so big. Oops. And so when I saw these bags at Baba's Studios, they were having a bag sale. I think they still are. I got these a couple of years ago, but I thought that was just perfect for these oracle cards. So kind of fun there. And then that was the Forhaxa, which is now mass market. This is the indie version. Okay, and where did my... Oh, here it is. This is the deck that I always use for the new moon, and I had talked about that at some point. I wanted to do something different so that I could put it more into circulation, but I'm still using it for my moon readings a lot of the time. So it's such a good deck. I'm going to read you the Crossroads, which is the lovers in this deck. It's because I think it's so interesting. This is Tarot the Crone by Ellen Lorenzo Prince, in case I wasn't clear. If you think you can go back now, think again. The choice must be made. No one can help you. All you know cannot help you. You cannot know the future, but you must know your heart and choose to follow. Faces cloaked in shadow. Triple Hecate stands at a crossroads on a moonless night. The brown paths indicate you have come to a time when making a decision affects your bodily existence, your life in the flesh. What you will do with your days and nights on this planet. The great hill behind Hecate says you don't always get to choose your ways. Choose the ways your life will turn. You don't always get to see ahead. But when life does turn, make the best of it. Every face of hers is dark. She is not there to show you the way. She is there to challenge your path, to tell you to choose your course like your life depended on it. Her red cloaks and the living earth of the hill behind her tell you the knowledge of the way lies in the quiet of your mind, the strength of your heart, and the deep wisdom of your body. Listen. Each aspect is telling you in its own way how to live a life that includes their power. So this deck is out of print because Ellen Lorenzo Prince's decks often go out of print pretty quick. But I just thought I would show it to you because it is a great deck and it's very powerful. I'm also just going to read you a little bit more. At the crossroads are those who wander and those in crisis. And like the choice at the crossroads, these two need separate things. The wanderer goes every way and needs to remain open. She needs the tools, insight, and the strength to be a remover of obstacles, while the seeker needs the tools, the insight, and the strength to take that next important step toward fulfillment of her soul. And then they talk about if you want to do a reading on this card, you can put this card in the very center and then do a layout with this card in the center, and then you would draw cards around it, and above would be a way to move forward. If I leave, the best way to go, the part of the past that must die, and the hidden potential of a situation. So it gives you a way to think about the crossroads and reading when you come to a crossroads in your life. So you can see why it's hard for me to switch, beautiful card, my deck. And I just decided that I'm going to still use it for my moon readings, but in addition, I am going to go ahead and use it in circulation too. And I'm just going to use it for both, because I use this deck a lot. And then about 5 years ago, I put it into my moon reading circulation. I've just kind of been using it only for that. And I miss it. I mean, I still get to use it every month, but I miss getting to use it for special readings. And there's every once in a while, there's a reading where I just want this deck. So I'm just going to go ahead and still use it for my moon readings when I want, but also just use it for regular readings. And hopefully at some point, this will become mass market too, because some of her decks have become mass market decks. The artwork in this is so different. Just the meanings are a little different than typical meanings. It kind of goes its own way. But it's been a very powerful deck for me over the years. I really, really love it. All right, that's it for me. See you later.